Guys, we're going to start in the next 5 minutes. Let's start. So, hello everyone. My name is Puneet, and I'm the founder of buddinganalyst.com. So today it's just an initiative that I wanted to share with you some content that my team created on changing business strategies and working pattern, and what's the new trend in the market in 2020, what happened due to coronavirus pandemic, and what are the businesses doing to not just grow, not just survive, but even to grow their businesses. Why are the share prices rising even when the market, when you get to know about the various companies, they are going bankrupt, various companies are going down. So there are various problems that people are facing, but still some companies are doing great even during these times. So we are going to discuss about these things. So let's begin. First of all, due to COVID-19, we are experiencing and expecting a new world altogether. As you all know that the things that we used to do earlier, it's different now. People used to go out, to enjoy. Now they're just sitting at their places and watching various shows at their homes. Like they're using Netflix, they're using various platforms. So people used to meet earlier face to face, and now they're using Zoom or any other such applications. So the trend has changed, and we are expecting that these things would continue in the future, because people are facing that they are getting to know that the efficiency of their work has increased when they work from home. So suppose if you used to travel to your office earlier, and now you're sitting at home and you're saving the travel time, and your efficiency obviously increases, your travel cost decreases, the rent space of your office decreases. So there are various things that are happening. This unexpected and adverse shift in the habits of mindsets has impacted various economies and businesses. So people have got to know that how can they improve their businesses, how can they make more profits, reduce their costs, and how can they increase their efficiency. So it's very important, so that for businesses to move as per the requirements of the time. So since the trend has changed, since the various things that used to happen earlier, they are changing. So that's why businesses are going to change now. The stock markets are going higher, even though the economy as a whole is not doing well. That's a very common question that I've been asked almost every a day or two. Like someone texts me like, Puneet, just tell me, why is the market going higher, even though I'm getting that people do not have enough money to invest. People are getting jobless, they're unemployed. There's so much negative news outside. The coronavirus cases are rising, everything is going, I think there's nothing like positive going on, but still the stock markets are rising. So this is an unusual experience. But I had a word with some various investors in the market, and who are in the market for over past 10-12 years. So I had a word with them, and they told me that the reason why stock markets are rising is because of the sentiments that people have. Moreover, even various economies like US and the Europe Eurozone countries like Germany and all. So even those countries, everyone has believed that, they know from the historical experiences, that whenever the market crashes, it goes up higher, not immediately, but maybe sometime later. So this is a prior knowledge that people have, that whenever prices fall, they tend to go higher, not maybe immediately, but maybe in 2 to 3 years or 5 years, it'll go higher. So that created a fear of missing out, the FOMO thing that's going on in the market. So that FOMO, that the market, they change the market sentiments, and that's why even though the fundamentals are pretty weak, even though the government is saying that it'll take time to recover for the whole economy, even U.S. governments, the Jerome Powell over there, the Fed chair, he mentioned that it'll be a slow recovery. They are expecting the GDP to be negative possibly, and they're just using various techniques like quantitative easing and various other things that they're using. So the thing is that even though the governments are so pessimistic about the economy, still the markets are going higher just because of fear of missing out and market sentiments that people have. So that's one reason. So the world has slowed down lately, leaving a lot of business owners either scrambling or re-strategizing. So that's one thing that we are going to talk about in this PPT today. So various businesses, they are re-strategizing. The strategies that he used earlier, they are no longer in place because the things have changed. The market has changed. So they are re-strategizing. What are the emerging trends that could give businesses an edge? So this is important because you must have an edge so that you can make profits in the business in the long run. So there's a need to reevaluate, there's a need to reinvent, and there's a need to re-strategize. Why are some companies not just surviving but growing amidst the pandemic? So there's something that we need to discuss, right? So, for example, if I talk about gold prices, so gold prices are at the all-time high right now in India, right? So the gold prices, they are touching. This graph is just for July 2nd, and the prices, it touched a high of 4 lakh 43 lakh, sorry, 32,000 per kg. So these prices are per kg. So gold price is rising. So who benefits because of the rising gold prices? They are the small businesses who take gold loans, right? So when small businesses and individuals, they tend to take more gold loans. So the companies that finance people based on gold, for example Muthoot Finance, Manappuram Finance, such companies, they tend to get more businesses. So I've showed quarterly sales report of Muthoot and Manappuram Finance over there. So we can observe that during the past 5 quarters, the sales had been rising, but the expectations, for example, we know that due to the pandemic, various businesses would fall. But this business, it didn't face a little bit of problems because of the pandemic. Even the sales went higher, not even consolidated, they went higher from if we talk about Muthoot Finance, so they went higher from 2577 crores to 2630 crores, and if you talk about Manappuram Finance, so they went about from 1400 crores to 1600 crores. So that's an increase of 200 crores during the pandemic. So this is just till quarter 1, till March, and till June the reports are yet to be announced, but we are expecting that these figures would increase further. So the sales increased. Also, the managing director of Manappuram Finance, uh, he's expecting a growth of 10 to 15% in gold loans in the fiscal year 2020. So the businesses, generally, if we talk about various businesses, for example, if we talk about the auto sector, if we talk about various manufacturing sectors, they are believed to have a negative outlook for the coming year, or maybe for the next 6 months. So they're believing that the sales would drop, and they are dropping. The auto sales, maybe it's two wheelers or maybe it's three wheelers, the sales are dropping these days. But this industry is booming, and we are expecting that since the gold prices are also at their all-time high, people can easily get more loans just by giving the gold as a collateral and at a less interest rate. So that's one business that is booming these days. So also, as 30% of the companies customers belong to small scale business category, so that would increase the demand even higher, as people these days, they're facing a cash crunch. So the small businesses, if they want to take more loans, they can go to gold financing companies because they'll get a cheaper rate, and they'll get more loan for their collateral. So gold rate also, as I mentioned, are at its peak. So next company that we're going to talk about is Netflix. So as we all know that during the past 3 4 months, we all must have spent at an average about 1 hour to 1.5 hour on Netflix. Not all of us have done that, but I'm saying at an average because some are spending 5 hours, some are spending just maybe half an hour, some are not spending at all. But at an average, people are spending more time on Netflix than they used to do earlier. Why? Because people did not have that much time, that much uh, to spend on Netflix or on other online streaming platforms. People used to go out, but since due to the lockdown and people are not able to go out, so they're spending their money on Netflix. So the subscribers, if we talk about the subscriptions for Netflix increased during the past 2 to 3 months. So here's a figure for quarter 1 2020, and the latest reports are yet to be announced. So as per Forbes, they are saying that 15.8 million subscribers were added for Netflix recently. So out of these 15.8 million subscribers, 85% of them were international subscribers, right? So in 2019, Netflix had about 167 million subscribers, and as per April, it had about 183 million. So the subscribers across the world, they went higher. So that's what I'm trying to say, that we need to understand which companies are doing good and why is this thing happening in the market. Why are they doing good? Because the things are changing, right? As a fun fact, I've mentioned over here that because of the password and account sharing, almost 41 Netflix users watch Netflix without paying. So we believe that the subscribers may be less, but actual viewership of Netflix has increased multifold, right? So just some articles, on various news paper websites that I went through. So if we talk about Netflix, they got about 16 million new signups thanks to lockdown. This was on 22nd April. Also, streaming services face an economic reckoning after COVID-19. So people are thinking about it. Various people are discussing about why these streaming platforms are growing. So this is a trending topic. Netflix near all-time high after COVID shutdown. So this, the share. These are about the stock prices. I'll show you the stock prices later on. But yeah, so Netflix stock prices went almost near all-time high. Next, the COVID-19, Netflix, Amazon, and other online streaming platforms asked to lower video streaming quality because people had been spending so much time on them that they had to reduce the quality so that they could work on other things. Amazon, if we talk about, so now Amazon has been doing great. So I'm just going too fast. The reason is because I've got too much content to cover and just not too much time for it. So I'll go a little faster so that I could cover everything. So Amazon, if you talk about Amazon, the services, just hold on a second. So Amazon services that Amazon provides are e-commerce services, digital streaming services, cloud computing, and AI. So these all services we observe that there's a rise in this, right? So also Amazon was announced that they are hiring more people. When people are laying off in such difficult times, Amazon gets more labor at a reduced cost because people are ready to work at lower salary. So Amazon is getting talented people at a very less salary that they would generally get. So they are benefited out of the pandemic. Moreover, they have got so much employees and the workforce has increased, so they would grow more in the coming times. And the business that they're doing, it's all that could be done without so much problems during the pandemic. So for example, if you talk about e-commerce business, so this thing has grown multifolds as people are not going out. They're trying to buy everything online. If you want groceries, so Amazon has listed groceries on the platform. If you talk about anything, if you want to buy a washing machine, if you want to buy an AC, if you want to buy anything, you can just go on such websites like Amazon and Flipkart, so you can buy everything online. The next thing that we talk about is digital streaming, as I've mentioned about Netflix earlier. So digital streaming is also something that Amazon is into, like Amazon Prime, and they're doing really great. So the next thing that they're into is cloud computing and AI. So that's also something that's getting seeing a very fast growth. The next thing that we're talking about is strategy. So the strategy that they had was they estimated the demand that people would, why, where would be the demand lie, and what are going to be the new trends in the market after the pandemic, during the pandemic also. So they estimated the demand and lockdown meant for more opportunity for online sales. So that's why they decided to hire more people rather than laying off. So even though there was strict, rules and regulations for them that they cannot supply other materials except for the essential ones for the initial 2 to 3 months, but they didn't lay off a single person uh, because they believe that after 2 to 3 months, when the government eases out some rules and regulations for them, they'll benefit out of it. So rather than laying off, they hired about 175,000 people globally during the COVID-19 pandemic, as per Bloomberg Quint. So the next thing, due to increased use of home delivery services and use of Amazon Web Services, the company has seen a growth during the pandemic. Also, in March, Amazon recruited 1 lakh employees, and in May, Amazon India recruited 50,000 seasonal employees. Right, so they are also including seasonal employees in the company. As a part of its new business strategy, Amazon is now focusing on investing more in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Right, so as I mentioned about this thing earlier, so areas where Amazon is going to invest are AI, like in AI are virtual customer services that they're doing, handling easy day-to-day tasks like data entry, maintaining employee database, and other things that they are making the workload less for the companies. So they are going to grow in the times to be. So the next thing that we observed was Zoom. So Zoom is also a video call, or you can say that you can take online lectures or webinars or online meeting platform. So since people were not able to go out, so various companies they decided to use Zoom or other platforms like Google Hangouts or such various platforms, go to meetings or other platforms for their own meetings and attend for having classes for the students in the various institutes and all. So Zoom and other these companies they came into light. So what happened was that since we cannot go out, but the work stopped, so people had to do something for that, and that's when Zoom came into picture. So in April, Zoom faced criticism due to its security concerns and poor design function, and this is as per iMedia. The source is iMedia. So but the company cannot let this opportunity go away. By the end of April, so the company launched a newer version which was Zoom 5.0, and with advanced features, and it was a paid version in which they had announced that they would be end-to-end encrypted. So it's a paid version, but yeah, you can get various benefits during these times. So I have mentioned the share price of Zoom over here. So if we observe that while the stock prices dropped for various stocks, so the stock price of Zoom has went up. It's in even across approximately double. It gave 100% return in just about 5 to 6 months, right? So Geo, we all know that Geo raised about 1 lakh and 17,000 crores during this pandemic in just about 11 weeks. So it has been in news. So the reason why Geo has been in news is because the business Geo is into, it's very much going to be in demand in the times to be. So what is Geo doing? This that they're providing telecom services, they're providing internet services to various businesses, and at a cheaper price and a better quality. So that's the reason that Geo is getting so many investors from across the world, and they are expanding worldwide now, right? So the reason they got so many investments, the reason was that they sold their stake to various investors, as I mentioned over here. So they sold a stake so that they could be a debt-free company, and as a debt-free company, they would get more freedom for the business. No, they wouldn't have to answer to the creditors. So that's a good strategy to work on, because when you take more loans, you have to, for example, if I go and take a loan from the bank, suppose, so I'll have to answer them that where am I going to use the money for this loan for. If I take a car loan, I'll have to buy a car. If I take a home loan, I'll have to buy a place, and they'll have my documents. I'll be answerable to them. So similarly, when a company takes a loan from a bank and they do not pay back the loans, so they have become answerable to the banks, or even if we talk about like debentures and other bonds, so they become answerable to investors, and they have to even give away the collateral. For example, some of the secured debt, if the secured debt with some machinery or something, so they'll have to part with the machinery if they do not pay back the loan. So Reliance wanted to be uh, more, have more liberty for this, have more freedom. So they sold the stake and became a debt-free company, so that they can work as per their own strategies. So why is Jio still growing despite the pandemic? As I mentioned, telecom is at its booming stage right now. Moreover, the lockdown led to an increase in demand for data. It increased the demand for live streaming platforms, which led to an increase in demand for data. Also, various businesses, the employees that were working face to face, now they're using platforms like Zoom and all. So the demand for data increased. So that's why Geo came into picture. and we observed that the share price of Reliance even went higher. So if you talk about TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, so 90% of TCS's current employees are working from home, right? So TCS is fully functional in times of pandemic, which is support system for 1,000+ organizations across the world, right? So as we all know that TCS is not just in function for India, it accounts for mostly it takes care of international businesses as well, right? So the company pledged over 2,000 million to protect and empower all affected communities, and they provided PP kits to frontline workers. They provided they started production of ventilators and increased they helped the community too much during these times as well. So that's a good thing about TCS. So that's a strategy by which you can increase your public image, and also if your business is such that people cannot part with you, and for example they are providing consultancy services to various businesses across the world, so the share prices they went down almost negligible even when the stock markets crashed, and they are back where they earlier were to their pre-pandemic levels, right, to the pre-COVID levels. So the share price is back up again. So we can see that the TCS share price didn't even fall during these times. So they're back at the earlier stage. So the company is actively engaged in research and development infrastructure and continuously investing in times and resources in vaccine research, development, and healthcare. So that's why TCS is expected to do good in the times to be. So next thing that we're going to discuss is industry setting new business trends post COVID-19 outbreak, right? So workspace industry, as we all know that the companies that used to take places for rent at a very heavy price. They used to pay leases for about like 5 years, 10 years. So they used to face various problems due to that. They had an increased cost. So but now people, since they're working from home, various companies have realized that the efficiency actually increased. So I had a word with some employees from KPMG and some from EY. So the companies, they observed that the efficiency of employees have increased. So I even had a word from the admin department from the institute where I did my MBA from. So admin department, they mentioned that the efficiency actually increased when they were working from home. So they saved a lot of time uh, that they used to come to the places for the work, and now the companies have realized this and they can save on their cost for this, and they can make people work from home, at least reduce the staff. uh, they can reduce the frequency for them to coming to the office. Suppose they can say that people can come on alternate days to the office, so they'll be able to work at a very lesser space, right? And saving the cost of electricity and rent and all. So the and also we can say that the efficiency is increasing, right? So education industry has been performing really well. So the digital education, since people were sitting at home, so companies like Udemy and various online teaching platforms, they e-learning platforms like Vedantu, Byju's, so these platforms faced that observed that there was a rise in their sales, because people who used to go out for tuition classes, school students who used to go out for tuition classes, people after graduation or post graduation levels, they used to study in their colleges. But now since they have plenty of time, so they are working, they're studying from home, they're taking online lectures, they're buying more courses so that they can upskill, they can learn more things, right? So even budding analyst, we are also into e-learning right now. So we are launching some things. So I'll talk about those things later. But yeah, so that's a booming industry. So next is the self-care industry. So if we talk about self-care, people are usually involved in learning and developing the skills during the pandemic. So they are taking webinars, they're taking classes, and they're learning more things these days. So that's a booming stage. So now, which industries are not doing good, which companies are not expected to do good even in the times to be? So, which would be adversely affected are the hospitality industry. They are also the entertainment industry. So these two industries would be badly affected, are badly affected, and they would be badly affected in the times to be as well. So trying to cope up, the hospitality industry, they're trying to cope up with home delivery, right? And they're trying various different ways of establishing the restaurants, following social distancing and low contact services, and hygiene is must it's a factor that is very important, because the people are they become more conscious these days. They're very scared about going out and touching someone. Even shaking hands is like a very risky thing to do these days. So hospitality industry is that's why and various facing various problems these days. So the next thing that we are talking about is entertainment industry. So this is the most adversely affected industry because the cinema halls and all they shut down. People cannot go out these days. So uh, and that led to a surge in the subscribers of Netflix and Amazon Prime and other online streaming platforms, the Hotstar and other the Disney Plus. So they observed that the sales increased, the subscriber count increased. They made really good profits. So although if we talk about the subscription, that the business model of Netflix is not so good. That's why they were not they were in news for facing losses a little back. So the thing was that the business model, if we talk about Netflix, so what they do is they charge a very nominal fee, and they give you a buffet of various shows and movies. So that's something good for the subscribers, for the people. And the bad thing is that these people, they can share the ID and password to other people, and they can view those things later, view those things as well. Although they restrict the screens, but still the same ID and password can be used by multiple people. So even Prime does that. So they're really cheap, and people can use the same ID password. So that's why I can say that the business model is broken. But even though the business model is broken, they faced such an increase in their subscriber count and sales increase, right? So this is the stock price of Netflix over the past few months. So it went up higher and higher, and it's near its all-time high. And if you talk about the e-learning platform, so this is as per business standard, and these figures are for the entire industry. So the e-learning platforms, they this the growth has the this is a growth percentage, and it has been increasing, and the expected growth for the next 2 years is also very high because in the post-pandemic times, so e-learning platforms, they are expected to do really well rather than the old brick and mortar models, the institutes and all. So e-learning platforms would be doing well. Next, future of work trends that are going to be post COVID-19 pandemic. So the increase in remote working. So people before pandemic, they used to go to the offices, but now people are working from home. And if we see the figures, so before pandemic, 30% of employees were working from home, but now the figure has rose to 48%, right? And this figure is going to maybe it goes down after the pandemic, but still the figure would be more than the previous times. The reason is increased efficiency, as I've mentioned several times. So expanded data collection. 16% of employers are using technologies for more frequently to monitor their employees. Before pandemic, this number was quite low. So they've collecting data using technologies to collect the data. Contingent worker expansion. So the worker expansion, they have 32% of organizations are replacing full-time employees with contingent workers. Contingent workers are like you can get a worker when you need a worker, right? So you can for part-time workers, you can say, like on the spot, if you want someone, you can just hire him or her for a very short period of time, and then save your cost on that, right? So this is a new trend in the market. So transition from designing for efficiency to designing for resilience, and expanded employer employee role as social safety net. So pandemic has increased the trend of employers playing an expanded role in employees financing and mental well-being, right? So this is a chart of employees' efficiency due to work from home, so as per eMarketer. So we observe that the global average, this is a percentage increase in the efficiency due to work from home. So we observe that the global average has increased. So now 65% efficiency has increased of the people when they work from home, and in India this efficiency is even higher. So people are about like 78% more efficient than others. So that efficiency level is better than any other country that you observe over here. So the efficiency of workers has increased while they work from home. So the next thing we are going to talk about is benefits of working from home. There are various benefits that it reduces various sick leaves. It increases the efficiency. People become more productive, and you reduce your travel times. You reduce your cost, and you can work as per your flexible work hours. So if earlier people used to work, uh, suppose for 9 to 5. Now they're working from home, so they can work for suppose like 11 to 8 or something. So they just have to get the work done as per the flexible times. So the new business trends emerging from COVID-19, so they are that increase in artificial intelligence and machine learning. AI is a new factor of production and has the potential to introduce new sources of growth, right? So changing how work is done and reinforcing the role of people to drive growth in businesses. Companies like Amazon is extensively using these resources to develop their AI. So the retail technology, new technologies can help retail save retail. So computer vision, AI, and machine learning are now can now analyze data from cameras and sensors to reinvent the shopping experience and drive new efficiencies. So the businesses, they are reinventing the strategies. Relevant changes post-COVID outbreak. E-commerce will continue to dominate. So these are what we believe that that's going to be the relevant changes in the times to be. That e-commerce will continue to dominate. All-encompassing digital platforms will keep rising. Organizations are going to figure out how to use social media more effectively. Demand for skilled employees will increase, and the fight for control of mobile payments system will be better. So just write yes in the chat box if you have understood what I've been trying to say till now, right? Just write yes. The next thing that we're going to talk about is lockdown in India led to 42% increase in use of mobile payment apps, right? So lockdown. So if we talk about that, Google Pay and other platforms that we used to see, so we've observed that Google Pay, Paytm, and other platforms, they are facing very much growth in their platforms, right? So the digital payment, for example, Google Pay, we can observe that the percentage people of using digital payment apps right now, this is the chart for that, and it has a 42% increase for these apps, right? So social network video ad spending, so projected increase in ad spending by companies by 2021, right? So people are going to spend more on digital platforms rather than their old brick and mortar models and traditional methods. So this is, and the next thing that we're going to discuss is what if the dispute between India and China gets worse. So what can be possible opportunities and threats for India? But before that, I would like to tell you that today we are going to launch our 3 courses, and I'll just take 2 minutes to discuss about that, and then we'll continue with the webinar, right? So about what Budding Analyst is doing is that we strive to be the best platform to guide you on being a great analyst, right? So we are just trying our best, and we just working on it. We are having a good team of about 14-15 people right now, and we are trying to expand, right? So the services that we are offering are interactive webinars, as you're attending one right now, and live projects. We'll be offering live projects. We have a very nice blog, and various people write for blogs from various institutes and various companies, right? And we are launching our courses and live training sessions today, right? So the content regarding techniques, tools to use, and things to keep in mind while analyzing live training sessions, webinars, and many more things that are required by the analyst. These are things that we provide our subscribers and our people who join Budding Analyst, right? So our content partners analyze the happenings around the world and help the students, investors, and the general public in understanding its outcomes. So these are the content partners, the students from and employees from various organizations who've been giving the content for our website. So if you go to our website, you can just check various blogs written over there. So I've mentioned the link for our website. It's buddinganalyst.com. So if you go over there, you can find articles written by various people, various talented individuals. So these are the institutes that they've been studying in, and some companies like Infosys and Gale, people from those organizations also gave us some articles, right? So I'll show you a quick video. this was a very brief video to describe what we are going to offer, and this is the first course that we'll be offering, right? So this course is for fundamental analysis, and this is the outline. You can also click on the link and check the outline over there. So this is just to show it for right now. So you can save the link. It's buddinganalyst.com/shop. So the price for the course that we have decided is 10,000, and just for the next few days we are giving a discount because this is something that we are just launching. So we're giving a benefit to the initial people who enroll for this, and you can use the coupon early bird for this, and the price would automatically reduce to 3,500. So you can use that coupon. Just write down that coupon in case you feel like you'll be enrolling for the lectures. So this is what we're going to teach you. We're going to teach you about who are the market participants, how to do EIC analysis, how to analyze forex markets, how to analyze the commodities, and what are the various asset classes that you can trade and invest in India. So how to buy and when to buy a stock or a commodity or a currency, right? So what are the basics of trading and understanding and interpreting reports. So which reports are we talking about? The annual reports that the companies have. How can you quickly read an annual report, because these reports are about for 300 pages or something, right? So you can quickly go through them and which areas you should focus on them, right? So we'll be teaching you those things. So analyzing this, using strategic tools, analyzing the financial statements of the companies, the cash flow statement, the balance sheet, the P&L, doing ratio analysis, how equity markets work, and we'll teach you about the trading psychology and common mistakes that people generally make. The next course that we'll be launching, it's a course on technical analysis, right? So technical analysis is another way of analyzing a stock. So there are two methods generally performed by people. It's either fundamental analysis and they invest for long terms, and it's either technical analysis and they usually trade for intraday or for a week, take positional trades, or for medium to long term, right? So we'll teach you about what technical analysis is, how you set up your chart, what are the various tools and indicators over there that you can use for your creating your own strategies, how can you analyze a chart using various candlestick patterns, analyzing trends. So resistance and support, we'll be going to teach you about that, the trend lines, various things about the common patterns and shapes. So when do you get to know that a price is about to break out or break down? What is a bull trap or what is a bear trap, right? So which technical indicators you can use for your strategies. So there are various types of indicators, basically trend, momentum, volume, and volatility. These are types of indicators that people use, and we'll teach you about how to enter and exit a position. So what can be your risk and reward ratio, how to set stop loss. So, and again, trading psychology and common mistakes, right? So the price for this course is also for 10,000, and both these courses, the fundamental analysis and the technical analysis one, the duration would be for about 1.5 months to 2 months, and we'll be having live lectures, and we'll even have various doubt sessions for that. So the price for this, just for some days, it's been slashed to 3,500 by using the coupon code early bird. So, and this one is a combination. So we've given a course on both fundamental and technical analysis, and the price that we've decided for this is 14,000, which would be slashed to 4,900. So you can get one course for 3,500, or you can buy both the courses for just 4,900 for about 2.5 months, and we'll train you with everything that you need to know for starting to invest in the market, right? So it includes your fundamental analysis, your technical analysis, also how to select a broker, so, and also various basics that you should need to know about the markets. So you'll get to know about all those things for just 4,900, right? So I hope that was a good deal, and if you want to buy this, just take a screenshot of this and go to buddinganalyst.com/shop and use the coupon early bird, and even share with your friends who you think would like to buy such great courses, right? So now let's get back to our webinar. So India versus China, manufacturing sector comparison. We've done a comparison of India and China. Know that India would be having various opportunities in the coming times to be, right. So the labor market efficiency, if you talk about the labor market efficiency, so as per HDI, India is ranked 103 and China is ranked at 34th currently. So we believe that this rank could, you know, act as a hindrance currently, because India is not, really well as per the labor market efficiency. The next thing we talk about is manufacturing sector contribution to GDP. So India's manufacturing sector contribution is pretty less. It's just about 13%, and China has about 32%. So there lies an opportunity where even the government is trying to help people so that they can contribute more to the GDP. So they are giving various loans to MSMEs and other manufacturing companies. That, people are getting various benefits out of the government as well. So they're launching various schemes. So we have an opportunity through which we can manufacture and contribute to the global economy, right? So since people would be not preferring China, as China is having troubles with US as well, and China is also disturbing Bhutan, if you follow the news, and Nepal, and also over there Taiwan. So there are various problems that they're facing. So share in the global manufactured exports. So India has a very negligible share of 1.6%, and China has about the share of 17.5%. So that is a very serious problem, because we have to work really hard to increase that share, right? So there is an opportunity, but it would be difficult, I would say, right? So share in the global manufacturing output, it's 3% for India, and China is just, it's really high, it's 20%. So it would be difficult if we want to compete with China for manufacturing, right? So imports from China, if you talk about this source, the source of this data is Jagran Josh. It's a newspaper, and what we found about imports from China is that in the figures are from 2017 to 18 and 2018 to 19, and we observed that generally the figures, it remained constant over the time, and it even went higher for organic chemicals and nuclear machinery, and a little lower for electrical machinery in 2018 to 19. So it's difficult to when people say that we're going to boycott China, so it's not going to be that easy, because India is not ready for it right now, but it creates various opportunities for India. So out of India's total imports, 13.7% are made from China currently. Due to the border disputes between two countries, bilateral trade between India and China has already gone down by 15%, right? So we believe that India and China would, if they face various troubles, so the stock markets would also get affected, various companies would get affected. But in the long term, we can see that India would gain an edge. It can, create various jobs in India, and cater to various global markets, because India would get a benefit to, as the Prime Minister is saying, that being self-sufficient for businesses, so we can manufacture in India and grow. So that's an opportunity for India. So recently, Indian governments banned 59 Chinese apps, as you all know. So, and we expect that such bans would increase for manufacturing sector as well. So there would be various troubles in the coming times. So the major items imported currently are electronic items, followed by nuclear machinery, organic chemicals, plastic items, right? So why is China cheaper? Why do global economies prefer China? The reason is that they have a provision of very cheap labor. So this is the main factor that contributes to cheaper Chinese products. The labor over there is very cheap. They do not have too much traveling cost over there. So generally, the people working in a manufacturing firm, they live nearby the factories, right? So they save on travel time, and they have really cheap labor over there. So the next thing is the efficient business ecosystem. So it comprises of suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, customers, and even government is supportive for them, right? So they all play a key role in the production process. So all of them work in a sync, and produce really a good output. So easy accessibility to business loans. So big industries have easy access to loans, as they account for greater manufacturing sector. So the loans to get over there is really easy. So that's a very plus point. So over there, and availability of cheaper raw materials. So the raw materials in China are really cheaper as compared to other countries. The next thing that even US blamed China off is currency manipulation. So we went through an article in which Trump, criticized China, and even various countries, they've been criticizing China for currency manipulation. So they manipulate the currency, they make the value so less so that the currency appears cheap in the hands of people of other economies. So that's why when China is exporting to their countries, so the exports They can export easily because these countries perceive the products to be so cheap that they do not prefer to buy the products from their own country. For example, even if we talk about India, so the products that people use. So if we talk about Lenovo, it has really a very high sale right now. Mobile phones like Xiaomi and Vivo, Oppo, people have been using these phones more than any other brand. So because they're cheap and they offer really good features in at a very less price. So why is it possible? Because they manipulate the currency. So the next thing is that they follow value-added tax system, so which leads to very less percentage of VAT on exported goods. So that's a benefit for them as well. So boycott Chinese products is a new movement that has been started in India. And do you think that would be easy? I would like to say that not so easy, because if you see the figures, the actual figures, so the trade deficit for this year, it although has decreased from 53 billion last year to 48.6 billion this year, but the thing is that this figure is still very high, right? 48 billion is still very high. Exporting them less and importing more from them, so this figure is really high. And India has to develop the infrastructure and various things. The government has to take active steps so that they can actually compete with China. So private Indian companies with Chinese investments, right? So various companies, if we talk about Zomato, if we talk about Ola, Uber, if we talk about like OnePlus, if we talk about Paytm, if we just name a company, and it's possible that China has invested in them, right? So China has its investments in various startups in India, right? So that's why various companies would face a problem if in case the dispute between the countries worsens in the times. So dominance of China in Indian digital and electronics market is also a problem, because even if we say that we want to boycott these products, on the other hand, if we see the actual figures of how much people are using the ways which brand they're using, so we'll find that Chinese brands actually dominate the in market. So I was just following the news a few days ago, and I got to know that people were saying we want to boycott Chinese products, and the day Xiaomi launched its new product, it was sold out in just 90 seconds. So people were saying that we want to boycott China, we want to boycott Chinese products, but they're buying Chinese products in a matter of seconds, right? India prepared in case people stop importing from China. So opportunities and challenges ahead. So opportunities, I would say that the global pain of over resilience, reliance on China is an opportunity, because every economy, believes that they're over relying on China, and they have to be self-reliant. And moreover, India is in good terms with various companies, various countries, so that would be a benefit for India, and we can expect more FDI as India is trying to get more foreign investment. So we can get more FDI in India for to get a boost in the manufacturing sector. Also, the trade wars of China with USA, India, trusted partner of USA, must capture this opportunity, right? So India and China are also in a state of dispute, and US China are also having their own troubles for the past few years. I can say like about 1.5 year, 2 years. So they're facing their own problems. So that can be a good sign for India, that because India is developing the infrastructure, and in the years to be, India can do better. So the next thing that India is good at is cheap labor. So even though China has cheap labor, India is also very cheap labor. We can get really cheap labor over here. So people are ready to work at very less salaries in India. So, and the next thing is declining work age population in China, which is a bad sign for them. And in India, the working age population is increasing day by day. So in the times to be, India can lead the markets, right? So the India can provide human resource to the world. And the challenges for India would be the rising competition from peers, right, from other emerging economies who can actually produce at really cheap prices, right? So, for example, if you talk about countries like Brazil and other emerging economies, so they are also trying to do good. So the other challenge for India is a poor infrastructure that we have. So it's not really developed to cater to such even get a huge demand from the world economy. So we're not ready. in the infrastructure terms to serve this huge market, right? So effective policy is required for this from the government's point of view. So the above two graphs showed FDI inflows. So in the list of world's largest FDI recipient, India jumped from 12th position in 2018. Hold on. Yeah. India jumped from 12th position to 9th position in 2019. So India is an FDI recipient over the times. Rajiv, what's your question? Rajveer, sorry. What do I think about organic chemicals? See, I even showed you a chart for organic chemicals that can we stop importing from China? It's very easy to say that can we stop importing from China, but on the other hand, we must have a robust infrastructure to be self-sufficient, or we should have a backup from where we can get such organic chemicals, right? So I can say that there's not such a possibility to do it immediately, but yeah, India must try to take steps and develop the infrastructure so that they can be self-reliant and stop importing from China, even organic chemicals, right? So, any other question that you have? So, government allows 100% FDI in infrastructure, railways, textile, airlines, chemicals, and automotive. So 74% in pharmaceuticals and 49% FDI in service sector, right? So that's a very good sign that India can get so much foreign direct investments in various sectors. So it can, at the initial stage, will be a problem, not just for employment, right? So FDI in pharmaceuticals, 49% FDI in services. So to promote Indian companies from opportunistic takeovers and acquisitions, the government changed its FDI policy on 17th April 2020, and the new policy does not restrict the markets, but it ensures that the FDI will not be under scrutiny of Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Right. So government's plan and initiatives are that manufacturing factories in India grew from 2014 to 2018. So there has been a rise, like Tata Chemicals and Reliance have started making organic chemicals to replace them. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, Rajvi, that if we develop the infrastructure and they're developing in India, that's what I'm saying, that if we develop it at a stage that we can be self-reliant, we can absolutely stop importing from them. But the infrastructure is not ready. We are trying to do it. Tata Chemicals, as you mentioned, Reliance, they're trying to do it, and various other smaller companies also. If we talk about their various smaller companies like small cap and mid cap companies, so they're also doing it. So we can do that in the times to be, but we have to ensure that the investment in such infrastructures is done, right? And the government takes necessary steps as well. So manufacturing factories in India, as I just mentioned, that they grew from 2014 to 18, and the government's new plans and initiatives to boost manufacturing industries, the number may substantially increase in the coming years. Also, the MSME sector provides employment to about more than 110 million. So it's about 114 million people that the MSME sector is employing, right? So and the government is supporting the MSMEs, so that's a good thing. So if we get more support, people can get more jobs, and that would be beneficial for everyone in the long term. And these MSMEs, they can actually compete with China and do good if we get investments for them, and if we get more labor for them. So there are various people in India who can actually do better than China, right? So we have to use this opportunity. In February 2020, government announced an investment of 45,000 crores in mobile and electronics manufacturing. So they'll be investing in bits in these sectors. So in 2020 budget, the finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman also cited that Assemble in India plan that they're coming for, and the plan is made to promote India as a hub for assembling products for global major manufacturers, right? So in August 2019, the government of India allowed 100% FDI in contract manufacturing through automatic route. So these are some things that the government is doing. So that's it for today, and you can ask your questions now. If anyone has any questions, you can just go through it, and just write down if you felt that the session was good. Just write yes, and if you have any feedback, we'll be floating a feedback form for that as well. But you can ask your questions in the chat box. Great. So I hope no one has any questions. So there's no one is asking any questions. So I guess that's it for today. So if you want to take our courses, so I'll just show it again. You can just go to buddinganalyst.com/shop and just note down the coupon. It's early bird, and you can get a really good discount from that, right? And do visit our website. It's buddinganalyst.com and write about it in your feedback form that we'll be floating, and tell us if you liked it or not, and tell us any thing that you can suggest for improving our platform as well. Thank you, Manoj. Ask which sector do you think will boom after the ban? I mean, the fastest. As I already mentioned, that there are various sectors, not just one. So that would depend on which sector is working more efficiently. So I believe that the NBFC sector can boom if they work on giving loans properly. So as I mentioned about gold loans, the gold prices are all at the all-time high, and Muthoot and Manappuram Finance are doing really good, right? So that sector can boom. Also, if we talk about the consultancy services, that sector can grow. And also, if we talk about services like telecom sector can get a see a good growth in the times to come. In the long term, I believe telecom sector is going to do great because of the requirements of internet, and there are various other sectors that can grow. So these are the 3 4 sectors that I mentioned. So if you want to learn more, just join our courses and we can discuss over there. And you can also just log on our website, so you can get more articles over there for free, which would help you out in your analysis or studies. And we'll also be coming up with more sessions for free that would be more informative, and we'll be floating the forms for them on various platforms, so you can look for them, and we'll be having more such insightful sessions, right? Yeah, Questcom. Also, yeah, online education platforms, they're also really growing at this point of time. So people are going online. uh, so I believe that things would change after the lockdown, and companies actually change the way people have been working on and work on their efficiency and reduce cost. They can really do good. So it can be the 3 4 sectors that I early mentioned, or they can also be any other sector. Yeah, no problem, Rajveer. So I hope that's it for today. No one has any other questions. So thank you so much for attending the session, and see you again in the next webinar. Bye bye.